One of the most innovative industries is AI. You have quantum, you got space tech, but with new technology comes more demand for energy. And while data centers are springing up everywhere, one of the biggest things that's going to power those data centers most likely is going to be nuclear energy. While grid works, while solar works, and while a lot of companies are moving towards renewable energy, nuclear is still getting some traction. So what we're going to do today is we're going to start a new watch list. We've never really jumped into too many nuclear stocks. So the main one I'm going to cover for this one is SMR, but we're going to start building this watch list. So if you have any companies related to nuclear, make sure to drop them in the comment section below so I can make sure we cover them. And also, if you ever want to join our daily live trading, we were up 6% in our portfolio today, trading Tesla and the semiconductor market, as well as Big Bear AI, a defense company. So if you ever want to see us trade those types of companies, including cutting edge AI technology companies, it's the second link in the description. And right now, you can actually get a free t-shirt when you join Stockmate Lifetime Access. So I would encourage you to simply take a look. Again, it's that second link below. When it comes to SMR, this is a nuclear stock. You can see some of their momentum. They started really surging here back in the beginning of 2024 at around $1.81. Now, this is the first time we've covered them, and just by looking at them recently, there's a couple levels to pay attention to. We're going to start by 3 analysis points. The first is going to be the market. The second is going to be analysis of A, B, and C, which is the chart, the news, and the financials. And then number 3, we're going to go into the profit potential. So one thing to note here before we even get into that is just this overall trend. I would urge caution. Just because we're covering it doesn't mean we're buying it or that you should buy it, really. And that there is this overall resistance level, maybe where it's trending, and then we could see it potentially pull down. And that's just looking at it right now, but we're going to jump in. If we're jumping to do analysis, we're going to start off with the financials. And actually, before we do that, let's check out nuclear market growth. We know usage is there, so we know the market's real. Nuclear power is projected to reach about 44 billion by 2029. So not massive, but growing by about 3% per year forecast. So it says that world nuclear energy, according to International Atomic Energy Agency, is projecting that nuclear capacity to increase 2.5 times, and there'll be smaller module reactors that contribute significantly. I actually have a friend who currently works at Rocket Lab, and I remember him telling me he was working on these very, very, very small modular, a small module, this nuclear reactor you could put in a car. Very interesting stuff. So the market is growing. Is it growing super fast? Kind of fast, but it's growing. When you take a look at the financials for SMR stock, let's take a look there and we'll start with that. So first things first, their market cap's at 8 billion, which indicates that according to our market we just did some analysis of, they're actually already about 3 or 4% of the total nuclear market. When you look at the financials that were reported, there's a lot of hype articles actually. I see these popping up everywhere. So just, we're kind of jumping in, urging caution. As you take a look at New Scale Power Corp, their recent financials have come in with revenues that are up year over year by 800%. Net income is still down there year over year, but up 15% up year over year, but still down about negative 14 million. Quarter over quarter, it looks like their revenue has seen some increases, but it's volatile from 500,000 to 34 million to back down to 13 million. And net income is also volatile there. Now, if we look at annual though, let's just take a quick look. Their net income is at an all-time low this last year. So just something to consider. While their revenues surged the most ever, their net income is also seeming to be the lowest that it's been since they've become public. When it comes to their balance sheet, they have total assets that are seriously increasing though. Look at that increase of assets. The blue there, 2020, 2021, you got 121 million. Then 2022, 350 million in assets, 220, and then recently $500 million in assets, and their total liability still below 100 million. So their assets increasing. Maybe it's the value of what they're bringing or the value of their actual nuclear reactors. I'm not really sure. We're actually going to see what that looks like. And let's jump into some of the news. So the financials look okay. We see negative net income, which is kind of, not so good if you're a $8 billion company. Like, you'd like to see that better. But their total assets have surged to $500 million, which is pretty good. And their revenue is up as well as their earnings per share. So overall, they're okay. Really, you'd like to see that they're cash flowing. That would be a better indication that the financials would be good. But I wouldn't say that they're good. I'd say they're okay. And when it comes to the news for the stock and what they do, let's just take a look. So it's called NuScale Power Corp. Let's just drop into it. So they're a publicly traded company specializing in the development and commercialization of small modular reactors. This is actually quite interesting. I actually find this to be pretty futuristic. 77 MWE SMR design approved. Like, every person viewing their website is supposed to know what that means. I don't know. But when it comes to their tech, let's take a look. They got Entra 1 energy plants. So they have a global partner for commercialization. A little bit sketchy that it's not a legit photo and that it's like, AI generated or whatever. And then you have NuScale, also a little sketchy that it's not like a legit photo and that it's like a CAD design. So far, they're not selling me. Like, I always say, no matter where they're at, document and show real photos, okay? They got their stock information and their news. Before we jump into the news, let's just take a look real quick at their product. So this is their NuScale power module. It's the first and only small modular reactor to receive design approval from the U.S. Nuclear Regulatory Commission. The NPM's design is based on proven pressurized water-cooled reactor technology and was developed to supply energy for electrical generation and district heating, desalination, and commercial-scale hydrogen production, as well as other process heat applications. In other words, this thing is small but highly effective and functions as a nuclear reactor that is very modular and small. So refueling cycle and their weight, well, it's not actually that small. 700 tons, 76 feet by 15 feet. And the fuel standard light water reactor, 17 by 17 configuration. Okay. There's a whole tech spec sheet we could go into. So far, pretty technical. Not a lot of like selling marketing, which is okay. I kind of like that. But here we go. 24/7 power generation, flexible plant siting. Okay. It looks like they have a focus on generating a lot of energy with a small thing here. Okay. And then you could see some plant models. You got 12 modules here where you could see them kind of in the water as nuclear reactors, and they're fairly small, again, about 76 feet. So not terribly small. It's actually like a small skyscraper right there, like the base of a skyscraper. Same thing here. You kind of see how it works. 6 module plants, and then they have a 4 module plant. So they offer these. Looks like this is for a city like Cape Town. That could power a city like Cape Town. This could power a module, let's see, coupled with 230,000 barrels per day refinery, can eliminate approximately 40% of overall plant emissions or reduction in CO2. Okay, and then this one, the 12 module series, is the equivalence of replace retiring coal plants or power emergency microgrids, and can be used to power data centers. I like the focus on data centers. I feel like that's where they should probably focus. Renewable integration, water desalination, and coal plant replacement. Okay, So you get into it, you start to see how they're building. I'd like to see maybe some more photos of what it looks like when they actually install them and stuff like that. Haven't seen that yet. So overall, we could dive deep, but when it comes to their marketing, I would love to see legit photos rather than that like CAD there. So let's take a look. E2 centers provide hands-on SMR control room training for students. If we jump into the news, we could probably see where they are being used, if they are. Okay, so they have a NuScale Energy Exploration Center at George Mason. Okay, NuScale powers small modular reactor achieves standard design approval. So they just achieved that approval there on May 29th. Okay, they have energy exploration centers. Now, I don't know if that means they're installing at these colleges, leveraging state-of-the-art computer modeling within a 12-module control room simulators. So they're simulators that show you how to operate their nuclear energy plants, essentially. And they're going to the universities and they're saying, we're going to go to Nevada, Las Vegas. We're going to go to George Mason. We're going to go over to South Carolina. We're going to go to this college and this college. Polytechnic Institute opens NuScale power. So what they're doing is, let's train people. Let's get people to learn how to operate these nuclear plants so that when we can power them and get them out there, people have the ability and know-how to do it. So that seems like a lot of their focus. As far as contracts go, I haven't seen any contracts, which makes sense. I mean, their revenue was not crazy. They have their earnings reports, but I don't see any big contract announcements as of late 2024 or early 2024. So maybe not contracts, and that kind of shows in their financials that we were taking a look at there. When you're looking at the financials of the company, you could see, they got 13 million in revenue. Who knows? It could just be from colleges at that point with these research centers. And also you got the CFO selling stock. Okay, so as far as revenue and contracts, I think they're a little overvalued at that $8 billion price point. I think that's crazy. When it comes to the technology, I love it. It's great. I think it's a really good idea. When it comes to them establishing connections with the colleges, I mean, that's the type of way to build a 100-year type of business. Get all of the students and people that are learning and the brightest minds to learn how to operate these nuclear centers so they can put them out and then have them operated. And it's a good 10-year, really, really long-term approach to growing the business. But from a financial perspective, it's very speculative in that their numbers aren't really showing too hot. Their assets, though, are increasing, so that's kind of a good part. What we do see is they're pretty overextended. You can look on the RSI and the MACD. So we just went through A, B, so news, financials. Now we're on C, the chart, and we'll get into the profit plan. When it comes to the profit plan, I think there's a lot more risk here than there is for profit. If they were going to go hyper bullish, which honestly they need a contract in my eyes to do that, they would have this previous resistance at about $27 where they potentially could bounce. But that would be very hyper bullish and would assume that they're really justifying that $8 billion valuation. What I think would make sense with a $30 price point and $8 billion valuation, that they would sell down. I think it would be healthy to see them down in that $15 to $16 or $17 range, and that it would be a very slow and gradual steady would be that would be the fastest way for them to grow as a company. Really, I think it's good they pull down. It would actually show they're not just a pump, and it would be a conservative approach. And as an investor, if it pulled down to this level, we start to see it validate and have that consistency of showing some resilience and starting to see it hold that level, then I'd see it as a nice stock. Otherwise, it looks really overextended. Most likely wouldn't enter it. So again, actually don't have a profit plan. I mean, if it sold down to there and we were able to see a similar move happen again, I mean, yeah, it's 170% increase. But as of where it is now, there's a lot more downside, I think, than there is upside. So most likely won't be trading it, but I would love to cover it some more with you guys. And if you have any comments on it, feel free to leave them down below. And if you guys want to know how to trade, today we're trading Tesla, Big Bear AI, which was up about 15%. And we also traded, what was the other one? Oh, the inverse of the semiconductor market on some China and semiconductor news. And we made 6% on our portfolio today. So if you guys ever want to see how we trade live, entries and exits, second link in the description. Again, you get that free t-shirt from Stockmate, and you see my entries and my exits. So again, it's that second link below. You click the link, go to Stockmate. We have quarterly and lifetime available right now. And there's a sale there for a limited time if you'd like to be a part of it and surround yourself with other like-minded investors. We got our live session tomorrow at 6:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and that's going to be right at market open to trade live. If I earned your thumbs up, hit the like button. See you guys in the next video. Take care.